It's a great pleasure and honor to be here today at the opening of the African Security Symposium. I thank the organizers for putting together such a timely event and welcome the opportunity to speak about United Nations peacekeeping, an embodiment of international partnership for global peace and security. Under the aegis of the Department of Peace Operations, United Nations peacekeeping helps countries navigate the difficult path from conflict to peace. UN peacekeeping contains unique strengths, including global legitimacy, burden sharing across the member states, and the capacity to bring together multidimensional expertise to support the transition from conflict to peace. For this, we deploy military, police, and civilian personnel to all the corners of the globe. Let me break down the roles that each play in turn. UN peacekeeping includes over 80,000 military personnel from some 120 countries. 96% of peacekeepers are in missions with mandates to protect civilians from threats of physical violence and to contribute to a more secure environment. UN Blue Helmets have also been called upon to monitor, observe, and facilitate peace processes, provide security during elections. But their role does not simply confine itself to security. Peacekeepers support the implementation of peace agreements, the establishment of state authority, including by building the capacity of host countries' security forces. And we work with humanitarians to facilitate the life-saving aid which so many people caught in conflict depend upon. In the Central African Republic, for instance, our peacekeepers supported the organization of presidential and legislative elections in the face of resurgent violence. Almost 10,000 UN police support host countries in their efforts to attain representative, responsible, and accountable police services, accountable to the communities they serve. UN police help to restore and nurture the consent of the public in their own police through a focus on local communities. This is done by promoting the concept of policing by consent in their interactions with host state counterparts and by encouraging the public to become partners in preventing and detecting crime in their communities. Responding to the public's security concerns, valuing their advice, and consistently acting in a fair, honest, and impartial manner, including through communications and outreach, are the principal tenets of UN Police's community-oriented policing approach. For example, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, MONUSCO, the mission we have there, the MONUSCO police sustained capacity building and development activities of the Police Nationale Congolaise, the PNC, through the provision of training courses on community-oriented policing for more than 3,000 of the PNC's professional police. On the civilian side, more than 14,000 civilian staff serve in UN peacekeeping operations around the world. And as conflicts have become more complex and multidimensional, the need for these civilians and their expertise grows. Areas such as political analysis, human rights, the rule of law, security sector reform, and disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration of former militia and armed combatants, as well as peace-building processes and strategic communications in the context of rampant misinformation and disinformation. These have all become all the more important. For example, in Mali, our mission there, MINUSMA, and its partners launched an action plan for the center of that country, covering 68 projects aimed at restoring trust between state authorities and the population, investing in social resilience and reducing community violence. UN peacekeepers have also supported the national COVID-19 responses in their host countries, lending their logistical support and their ability to liaise across the country to these efforts. And in many countries, they've conducted sensitization campaigns and repurposed quick impact projects, which are small funded projects which missions run, repurposed them, as well as community violence reduction projects to support national government responses to COVID-19. UN peacekeepers operate in challenging and complex environments. armed conflicts have become more intractable, with political solutions increasingly elusive. Our peacekeepers have become targets themselves in constantly evolving conflict landscapes, targets of asymmetric attacks, and of attacks arising, as I said, from misinformation and disinformation. And to address these challenges, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, launched the Action for Peacekeeping, which we call A4P for short, an initiative to renew mutual political commitment to UN peacekeeping. I say mutual because peacekeeping depends upon a wide range of stakeholders, the role of the Secretariat, member states, host governments, populations on the ground. This Action for Peacekeeping was endorsed by 154 member states and 4 international organizations. The Action for Peacekeeping and the implementation strategy we are pursuing currently, which we call A4P+, mobilizes the efforts of a broad range of partners. The member states, the Security Council, as I mentioned, host countries as well, troop and police contributing countries, regional partners, financial contributors, to strengthen peacekeeping and to ensure its continued relevance, even as the challenges facing our peacekeeping operations continue to evolve. At its core, Action for Peacekeeping focuses on 3 key objectives. First, refocus peacekeeping with realistic expectations. Second, our peacekeeping missions must be made stronger and safer. And third, mobilize greater support for political solutions and for well-structured, well-equipped, and well-trained forces. To realize these objectives over the next 3 years, we will prioritize, among others, equipping our peacekeeping missions with the right capabilities and mindsets, strengthening the safety and security of our peacekeepers, and upholding our accountability for performance, including through enhancing our strategic and operational integration and achieving digital transformation. To fulfill these objectives, we count on your support for the various initiatives we are undertaking. We rely on you as troop and police contributing countries and as supporters of UN peacekeeping to provide effective pre-deployment training to personnel deploying into peacekeeping operations. This training must be both on core military skills, so-called green training, as well as on the peacekeeping doctrine and approaches, so-called blue training. A critical aspect of blue training is on peacekeeper conduct and discipline. As representatives of the United Nations, we must ensure that our personnel adhere to the highest standards of conduct. Training is critical to operational effectiveness and to safety and security, the safety and security of our personnel. Ensuring that military and police personnel arrive appropriately trained for the operational realities of the environments to which they are deployed, including through individual training on first aid and weapons handling, and collective training in field exercises, is an essential first step. But achieving this is not always an easy task. Our department provides training support to troop and police contributors through a variety of programs, including the provision of standardized training manuals, materials, delivery of training of trainers programs, and the training recognition of courses provided by member states and international training centers. The goal is to build a self-sustaining national training capacity that can support future rotations and deployments of personnel. In delivering pre-deployment training, it's critical that member states use UN-provided material, which reflect the latest UN standards and guidelines. Aligning training with UN standards is essential, as these are the standards used for assessing readiness during pre-deployment visits and performance assessments during in-mission deployment. These performance assessments include force commander and police commissioner-run assessments of the units under their command. Maintaining these standards also helps to improve the safety and security of our peacekeepers themselves. These standards, these UN standards, are also used to grant training recognition, which ensures that troop and police contributors are delivering training in accordance with UN standards. It also helps to ensure that when troop and police units come together from so many diverse backgrounds, they are more interoperable. And Africa is the home to some of our largest troop and police contributors. It's also the region with the least training recognitions. We need more African troop and police contributors to seek training recognition for their courses. Another initiative is the Light Coordination Mechanism, the LCM. The LCM facilitates bilateral and multilateral partnerships between troop and police contributing countries and member states to help these troop and police contributing countries build sustainable national systems to deploy units and personnel for peacekeeping. The Secretary General recently put forward a common agenda for the future, setting out a rallying call for member states and civil society, including the private sector, to come together around an inclusive and just global society. A major component of his vision is around the use of digital technologies for good. Every day, we see how digital technologies, especially social media, undermine social cohesion and trust. We also see how conflict parties leverage and weaponize new technologies, whether in the form of surveillance, remote explosive devices, or indeed through online information operations. And that is why we in the United Nations Peacekeeping Department have recently launched a strategy for the digital transformation of UN peacekeeping. It has 4 overarching goals. Firstly, to drive innovation and agility. Secondly, maximize the potential of current and new technologies. Third, to understand threats to the safety and security of peacekeepers and to mandate implementation. And fourthly, to ensure the responsible use of technologies. We are currently developing a high-level implementation roadmap for this strategy. The roadmap will highlight opportunities where member states and non-state partners can support digital transformation, help foster agile and innovative approaches, strengthen data and digital skills, and provide expertise on data and digital services and technologies. Finally, we hope member states can help support field technologies and their deployments to ensure safety and security of our operations. And we have pressing and urgent needs in this regard, starting from basic connectivity for our troops deployed in the remotest locations. And we count on your support to help turn this roadmap into a reality. Part of digital transformation relates to achieving deeper and broader analysis, which can help us strengthen peacekeeping accountability and their performance. We're rolling out a tool called the Comprehensive Performance Assessment System, the CPAS. I'm sorry, I need to break. Can I break and start again here? I will, and as you said, you could link it together. Part of digital transformation relates to achieving deeper and broader analysis. We're rolling out a tool called the Comprehensive Planning and Performance Assessment System, CPAS, which helps us regularly assess our mission's performance and impact as a whole. It collects 7,500 data points over 500 indicator areas, ranging from attacks on civilians to the number and location of patrols we conduct. This system will allow missions and eventually member states to gain insights into the effectiveness of the work being done on the ground and increasingly use visualized data and analysis to inform decision-making as we better measure the impact that the mission is having towards its strategic goals. To rally member state support for peacekeeping and to gather concrete contributions, for several years, various countries have been hosting ministerial level meetings on peacekeeping operations. The next one is in December, hosted by the government of the Republic of Korea in Seoul. I encourage you to urge your governments to participate in the upcoming Seoul Peacekeeping Ministerial meeting, which has the objective of closing capability gaps through concrete pledges. The Ministerial will be the largest and most significant in-person event since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic on peacekeeping. The UN needs support to fill critical capability gaps and have mobile, well-trained and equipped units. Such support includes aviation units, including medium utility helicopter units with aeromedical evacuation teams, armed helicopter units with night operations capacity, and mobile and responsive infantry units, such as quick reaction force companies, reconnaissance companies, and long-range patrol companies. Mobile medical capacities, such as forward surgical modules and light mobile surgical modules. Unmanned aerial systems with short runway operations or vertical takeoff and landing type. And well-trained and equipped Francophone formed police units are among the capacities which we are seeking member states' support to supply. The Seoul Peacekeeping Ministerial will also provide a valuable opportunity to strengthen existing partnerships while facilitating the development of new and sustainable partnerships between member states in support of the implementation of the Action for Peacekeeping Plus priorities and in support of UN peacekeeping globally. As we ponder the recovery from a pandemic which has reverberated across the globe and has impacted on peace and stability, United Nations peacekeeping remains, more than ever, a valuable tool for the promotion and maintenance of international peace and security. We count on your continued support and commitment to this vital work of the United Nations. Thank you.